And then let me give you permission. There you go.
Perfect.
You have permission to share the screen.
All right. I am going to just share a couple of things with you guys. And I want to talk mainly today about habits, but I want to start with something fun. And I love the name Kickstarter. I love that you guys, I have to say that I hear more positive comments about this group and what it does for the people that get on this call in the mornings. So Lisa, if this was whoever put this together, I'm assuming maybe it was you, Lisa, kudos to you.
Thank
for
you.
identifying a need and just really digging in and doing something about it. I absolutely love it. So what I want to do today is start with something fun. So everybody, I want you to watch this. Check out these shoes, if you will.
Y voy a pedir que se mueva el zapato número 1. Zapato número 2. Zapato número 3.
Whoa.
Now, sorry
Sorry
about that. Now, didn't know it was going to do this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stop sharing for a minute, guys, I believe. Sorry about that. So how many of you, here's my question. How many of you found yourself looking at that differently after you saw the first one? Anybody? Yeah. So suddenly what you saw was people. You started looking and going, oh my God, there's the elbow, there's the shoe,
the hand,
right? There's the hand, right? And so what that is, guys, it's perspective. It's perspective. And that's what I want to talk about today, because my goal here, my goal for every single one of you is to walk away with a different perspective. What I would love for you guys to do is to walk away with one thing that you think about differently, one thing that maybe you know you need to work on, but you haven't changed it. I want you to walk away with one thing today. So what I'm going to talk about are habits of top producers, habits of top producers. I have probably spoken to many of you guys on the phone. And so you guys are familiar with this, but hopefully you're going to hear it from a little bit of a different perspective, because here's the thing. What we need to be successful only falls into 3 categories, guys. It's really not that complicated. It is not that complicated. The first area are your skills. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions of you guys today. I want this to be some self-awareness, but I'm going to welcome questions. I know we only have 30 minutes, but I wanted this to be valuable. I wanted you to walk away feeling like you're able to do something different. So when we think about skills, I want you to think about your sales skills, your leadership skills, your management skills. So when is the last time you really evaluated where you were in each area of the sales process? In other words, when's the last time you changed how you approach a new referral partner for business? When's the last time you evaluated or you changed the conversation that you have with a prospective referral partner? I was reading a study that was done a few years ago by a company, Gong, and they listened to over 27,000 sales calls. Can't even imagine, it must have been awful, but they listened to 27,000 phone calls, sales calls. And what they did was they said, okay, which ones are the most effective and which ones are the least effective? They wanted to know, how much do we talk? versus how much do we listen? What's the right sweet spot? And what they found was we need to be talking 43% of the time and listening 57% of the time. Now, of course, every conversation is going to be different. Sorry, guys. I'm sure you guys could hear that. When's the last time we really focused on the needs of that other person? When's the last time we knew our presentation was the smallest part of the conversation when we meet somebody new? How many of you ask for business the same way every time? It's habit. It's what we do. We get comfortable with it. But how many of you have 5 or 6 different ways to ask for the business when you're having a meeting with a potential referral partner? How many of you feel confident in handling objections, whether it's a price objection from a borrower, whether it's an objection from a lender that they already have a lender? When's the last time you really worked on making that better? If you're a manager, and there's a lot of producing managers on here, when's the last time you focused some skill development on retention of your team, developing your team, being attractive to someone else in your area to bring them on? So those are some skills. Hopefully some of you have identified some that you can actually think about and say, what do I need to do? The other area is motivation. Now I got to tell you, most people right now, and there's a bunch of you on this call, as soon as I said motivation, you went, I got that. If you're honest with me, some of you did that. You said, I got that. And I'm going to say, you might have it in this moment on this Monday morning, knowing that spring is around the corner. But what I'm going to say to you about motivation is you're not born with it. You have to cultivate it, guys. Motivation has to be cultivated. In order to have consistent motivation, you have to have a vision for your life with goals that are in alignment with that vision. You have to have a purpose that is so much greater than money. You have to have an attitude of abundance, of gratitude, and you have to really be mindful of how you talk to yourself about yourself. This is where I would say most people need the most help. Now, you need help. You might need to develop some skills. You might need some systems. We're going to talk about those in a minute. But for most people, the biggest thing that gets in our way consistently day in and day out is our mind and what we say to ourselves. So just out of a quick engagement here, guys, what are some things that you know you're saying to yourself? It could be an excuse. It could be, I don't know, anything. What are you saying to yourself right now? Does anybody care to share what they know they're saying to themselves right now that's not serving them?
I don't have the time.
Mhm.
Don't have the time.
The market's
That is-
hard.
Yes. Yes. You know, I was listening to a podcast, Inside Great Minds, and the guy, he was a real estate guy. And I'm gonna really kill the way he said it, but basically said the way that the market is, the state of the market is completely between your 2 ears.
I love that. There's a couple other in the chat. One is, I'm afraid, I'm tired.
Yeah. You know what? It's not that these things, guys, aren't real. They're very real. But what we have to learn how to do is hear them, feel them for the information that they're providing to us, and then know what to do about them. You guys have heard this. Life is only 10% what happens to us and 90% how we choose to respond. So it's a very real emotion, being afraid, but if you can take that emotion for information and then use that to decide what you're going to do, that can be incredibly powerful, guys. This motivation piece, I think, is the most important and underestimated with regards to success. I will tell you that every single top producer that I've worked with, and I have honestly the honor and privilege of working with some of the best, they all struggle with this too. They all struggle. They all come in every once in a while and they go, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know how long I want to keep doing this. They have those moments. So really consistently looking at what you're saying about yourself to yourself, or thinking that other people are saying about you that you believe to be true. Huge. And the third area, guys, is systems. Systems. Some of you, many of you on this call have been in this business a long time. So you've built up your systems over and over and over. When's the last time you actually evaluated them? When's actually the last time you looked at some of the systems you have in place to see, are they actually doing what I intend for them to do? Pipeline management for pre-approvals. This is one of these things that I think if you're not doing something differently now than you did in 2019, let's just kind of take 20 and 21 and shove them aside. If you're not doing something different in your pre-approval pipeline differently than you did in 2019, you're losing deals. We know that. But when's the last time you looked at that system and updated it? Some of you on this call have done an amazing job of staying in touch and taking that client and moving them from a transaction to a relationship. Some of you hadn't really mastered that yet because you don't have any systems in place. And for some of you, it's the exact opposite. If you're a manager, what is your plan? What is the system you have for developing your LOs? Right? Do you have a plan? And really what brings all these things together, guys, what ties them together are habits. They say 80% of what we do every single day, we do out of habit. And so my challenge to you is, as you think about these things, what is a habit that you want to change? What is something? It doesn't have to be big. It could be getting up 15 minutes earlier. I don't know. It could be planning out your calendar in the morning. It can be shifting your perspective around time. The fact is, guys, we all have plenty of time to do what we have on our plate that is important to us to do. It's a matter of how we view it, how we handle it. And finally, if some of you are struggling with this, some of these things we've talked about, you've known this has been an issue for years. You've known, I need to not just lean on my client base. I need to build some new referral partners. I need to leverage those. You've known it for years, but you've not done anything about it. And what I would say is, if you're in that camp, then seek out some accountability. Personally, I've had a coach since 2003. I'm a little partial to it. But if it's not a coach, find some accountability. Find some accountability. So now that I have created a different perspective for you with this whole body paint, I'm going to show you another. And I want you guys to look at this for a minute. And I want you to think, what do I need to be doing differently? You see it a whole different way now, don't you? You see the people. You're like, oh, I think there's 3 people here. Might not have seen it if it wasn't for the other video. Where do you need to change your perspective? Do you need to think about your motivation, your self-talk? Do you need to have an evaluation done of your systems? Do you need to dig into those? What is it that you need to do? So I'm going to leave you guys with this. I'm going to let one of them stand up and then I'll how many of you actually thought there were 5 people? See? Yeah, right, Rosella, I did too. Pretty interesting. So
Sorry through
I'm going to
something great in the
stop
chat.
this. I am going to get back to put my name up. Many of you, I'll just put my information in the chat. But I'd love anybody to ask questions, specific questions. Anything that I can answer or open up conversation for. I know we still have time. I didn't want to take up all of the time
No,
in the call.
We appreciate that. So what
You're
would you
muted,
say-
Lisa.
Oh, hang on.
No, Lisa, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. What would you think is the
I
most
still can't hear you.
Oh, I think it's you, Angie. Hang on.
I got it.
Okay.
Got it now.
There's, Tim put one in there. What's one sustainable habit you recommend daily?
That's a great question, Tim. And I think this is going to be a little different for everybody, but this is my favorite. And that is this concept of ramping up for your day. Most people start their day, sometimes even before they get out of bed, by checking their email. They feel like, I've just got to get ahead of it. I just got to get ahead of it. And what that does, guys, is it puts your brain in a reactive mode. And once you are reactive, it is nearly impossible to become proactive. So if I had to only give one habit that I think would change the trajectory of what you're doing, it would be to change how you start your day, and to actually start your day not when you're getting the kids ready for school, not when you're still showering, none of that. Being present in the moment, doing what you're doing to get ready, and then start your day. And before you open your email, look at what you've got on your calendar for the day. Plan it out, be mindful of what you're doing, and be proactive. Rosella, I see you grinning.
That is so simple and true. I mean, I cringed when you said it. Honestly, that is just so simple as that. When you think about it, it puts you in a reactive state of mind to be checking your email first thing in the morning. That's amazing. What else, guys? Come on, you guys have Angie here. Ask her lots of questions. How do you get over that I'm tired bump?
I have a very personal story with the I'm tired thing that I'll share with you. And I love, Jamie, that you asked that. For those of you who don't know, and many of you would have no way to know, but when two of my grandchildren were 6 months old, they were basically dropped in my lap, so to speak. And that was 8 years ago. And I had just started in this business and didn't expect to have 6-month-olds at my age, right? And that, if that's a pretty fair statement, and those of you can imagine, it kind of threw everything upside down. And I found myself about a year or so after that saying to myself consistently, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. And you know what? I would even say it out loud, and I would say it to people, well-meaning friends, colleagues, people that really loved me. And they would go, oh, I can't imagine. Of course you're tired. I don't even know how you do what you do. They were trying to be so helpful, but they were just playing into me being tired, because what I realized was tired is in my head. And the minute that I recognized me being tired was really an excuse, me being tired was not a physical state. We've all heard the Navy SEALs and all those people talking, they say your mind gives up way before your body does. And that's what it was. My mind was tired. And so what I did was I set about this process of, first of all, I never say the word tired. I might be sleepy, but I'm never tired. And then I replaced that in my mind with gratitude. I can vividly remember 2-year-olds wanting me to play with them. 2-year-olds, and think about how special it is when 2-year-olds, you're their whole world. And they want you to play with them. And you're thinking, oh my God, I don't want to go up the steps. That's awful. And I remember thinking, I've got to fix this. And what I did was I absolutely shifted my thoughts with gratitude. And I remember thinking, oh my God, how cool is this? This is not going to last forever. And I am one of the luckiest people in the whole world. And I could suddenly shift myself in that moment to bounding up the steps, going to play with these 2 amazing little boys. So my antidote to tired is gratitude.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, you guys, who's got another question for Angie? We have like 5 more minutes. This has
I
been,
find myself complacent because just where I am in my life, I just finished getting my kids through college.
Mhm.
I don't have that financial need that I once did.
and the vision,
So, yeah, I just kind of was like, I don't know what my new why is.
So Gwen, when is the last time? So there's something called the Wheel of Life. You can look at that online if you want, and it breaks down your life into 7 different areas: financial, professional, mental, emotional, family, all of that. And the reason that something like that might be helpful for you, because I think so often in these kinds of conversations, we tend to think a lot more about our business. And the fact is, guys, we're not work robots. Come on, we're not. And we need a vision. And sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to decide what our vision is going to be. In working with so many top producers, you can imagine many of them are thinking about legacy planning. Many of them are thinking about retiring. And one of the things, the higher the producer, the harder it is for them to imagine retiring, because they're not sure what they're going to fill their time with. They're not sure what they're going to do. And they've spent so long being focused on producing that they haven't spent time thinking on what it is they actually want. I had a conversation with somebody who ran a real estate business, property management business over 30 years, and she couldn't create a vision for herself. And we talked through it. And during the entire phone call, I said, Laurie, I said, do you realize just the entire phone call, all you've been able to tell me is what you don't want. You've not been able to identify one single thing you want. So it really was a journey for her to create that vision. So I would say, spend some time with yourself and really figure out what you want. Not today, not tomorrow, but what do you want your life to look like? And maybe use that wheel of life as a something to help you focus on all of the different areas, and put together a vision board for yourself, because unless you have a vision, it's impossible to have goals that align with this. And what you're saying right now is you don't have a purpose greater than a paycheck. And when the paycheck goes away, it's done. So it really is a vision exercise for you. I hope that helps.
I feel like Gwen was in my brain when she said that, because I feel exactly the same way. And I just got a vision board, and it's literally sitting empty at my house that I have to take the time to finish. But more threw something in there, just changing the way you say things, I get to rather than I have to. Those are
Came from Justin Perry. I was just, that reminded me of what he said.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I talk a lot about wanting to or not, or won't. I want to or I won't, instead of I have to or I should, right? Even when you say all of those words out loud, they feel very different when you say them. So getting to the place of what is it that I really want to do, and being okay with what I won't. There are a lot of women on this call, and that won't is very powerful, to be able to embrace that as well. Because as women, we assume there are so many things we need to do, and putting some clear boundaries about what we won't do. Because every time we say yes to one thing, we are saying no to everything else.
That's come out a couple times on the call, actually.
And Angie, one time you told me to talk to myself out loud, to get out of my head and say
Yes.
things out loud. Because you don't realize how much of a habit the little spool of things go around and around in your head. If you say it out loud, sometimes you'll hear how goofball it sounds.
It's like that thing when you get a song stuck in your head, they say to say the whole song, right? And that's the same thing. If you're saying something, it usually you're saying it over and over and over, you're ruminating about it. If you say it out loud, it tends to break that cycle, Rosella.
Interesting. That's amazing. All right, what else, guys? Who's got something that they want to ask Angie? We have her for a few more minutes.
One more crazy one is I justify it. I had some really toxic relationships. I'm like, I'm going to downsize my business because this is toxic, versus I'm going to replace it. You know, I do find justifying my behavior.
Yeah, we all do. And the fact is, what's in your brain knows you know you so well that you are going to win every argument with you. Is that making sense? You can tell yourself anything and get yourself to believe it. It's just the way our mind works.
Angie, you have so many people on this call who exactly do that, okay? You know, exactly. That's, we think that, yeah.
Yes. And everybody does it. It's just a matter of recognizing when you're hearing that, because that voice in your head, part of the reason it's so good is it's there to protect you. It's there to protect you. So those thoughts you had, oh, this is toxic. So I'm going to convince myself that I need to back down my business because I'm protecting you from that toxicity. Instead of let me figure out this toxic where I have involvement and responsibility and fix that so that I don't have to give up on my goals and my dreams.
It's so funny that you said that, because we talk about our kids having selective hearing, you know, the only hearing the pieces that we want. We do that to ourselves as well.
Yes, yes, yes. That's why this perspective that we're talking about today can be so powerful. And sometimes you need somebody to help you with that perspective. Let's get real, right? We've convinced ourselves of so many things that's why that outside perspective can be meaningful for you. So yes, and Tim, ego gets in the way too.
Yeah. Egos, that's all part of it. It's all part of the same thing. You guys, there's a lot of good stuff going on in the chat, and I really appreciate that. Angie, this has been an amazing way to start Monday. So thank you for that.
Well, you are very welcome. I'm honored that you guys asked me, and so appreciative. So
you are welcome back at any time. We love having your voice. We love having your thoughts and your ideas. And it's great to shake us up. And I can't even say that the whole email thing, you know, there should be a rule that your email can't get open till noon.
Exactly. It would change your business. It would.
One simple thing, you guys. Don't look at
I'm going to
your
repeat
email.
what I said at the beginning, which is Angie, the Velvet Hammer, to me, very gently and very kindly told us a lot of stuff about ourselves that we really need to pay attention to. So I hope you take her advice to heart and really start looking at yourselves in the positive way you should. And thank you, Angie, for helping me so much in my life.
Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a great Monday. Great week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.